sense of two trees. Let's put a number to that and start thinking that way.
Okay, but see, you already said two trees.
Well, the trees, yeah, exactly. And that's our way of understanding it. But if you look at reality itself, wouldn't conceptualize it like that necessarily. It's a way for us to understand, to differentiate numbers between trees. So we gotta differentiate between the ontological reality, like the thing that is actually out there, and the way we perceive it. And
yeah, precisely. So we're saying the ontological reality of logic and numbers and all things is out there and external to us. How we verbalize it through syntax, sure, that's something we discover. See what I'm saying?
So it is existing, but it's not like the universe is thinking there are three trees here. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Okay, but now that we're clear on words and we've done our sort of academic throat clearing,
defining our definitions.
About God, would you say your belief in God, 0 means you don't believe in God at all, 1, it is an objective reality out there. Where would you be on that scale?
Depends on what you mean by God.
Good question. Transcendent, creator, nothing like creation, all-powerful, all-knowing, and the source of all life. That's a basic definition.
I do agree. I think there's some kind of a first cause, but I'm not sure it's omniscient or that it's omnipotent.
Are you doing okay?
So let's go halfway there. It's like, yeah, there probably is, like, there has to be something that started in, some kind of other maybe consciousness creating force, but I'm not sure it's omniscient and omnipotent.
Let me put it to you this way: if all things that do exist possibly, we just accumulate them all into a sum aggregate, and all these contingent things are contingent upon this cause, this creator, this instinct.
Could you see if there's a drink? Any water?
It would be that this cause is more powerful than the whole set of contingent things. Therefore, there cannot be anything more powerful in the contingent set than the thing which causes the contingent set.
So it's powerful because it started it all.
No, as in everything is contingent upon it.
Well, that is power. That's basically it. Everything is contingent on it. It all started with that.
It's not about starting. It's about everything relies. No. Think about it. Everything. There's no jump. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
If everything ontologically relies on something else, therefore everything is subservient to this something else in power, because it has these contingent things in and of themselves do not have the power to give themselves existence. So they owe their existence to that thing which is outside the contingent set, which is the necessary existence.
I noticed a few words there, like
how are you doing?
Its existence.
Good.
Good to see.
Is not
I think that might be jumping ahead a little bit in the game.
Explain to me why that is.
I'll explain later in a conversation.
Don't explain later. Explain now. I need to go now. You say I said Salaam alaikum.
When you take Shahada, I'll say Wa alaikum
Never
salam.
mind Shahada.
Wait.
Finish the
I
sentence.
say Wa
Like a
alaikum.
father.
And
No, that's
You owe
it.
your life to him.
No,
He
because
created you.
No,
So you
back to you.
you should dedicate
We'll
your
talk,
life to
we'll
him.
talk,
He's the first cause
we'll
of it,
talk.
right?
Finish the
So you're applying
sentence.
that
Wa
logic
alaikum.
to the first cause.
finish the
Wa
sentence.
Let's assume there's
Wa
one there.
alaikum, wa
Wait.
alaikum.
قال
Let's
رسول
assume there's
الله
first
لن يؤمن
cause that goes
أحدكم
in
حتى
there,
يحب لأخيه
and
ما
it
يحب
creates all-
لنفسه.
it
السلام
starts it
عليكم.
all.
Yeah, I say Wa
It
alaikum.
doesn't seem able to necessarily
No, we'll talk.
manipulate.
No,
It
we'll
leaves
talk,
things
we'll
as
talk.
they are,
Until you
right? And
said
allows
the
things to
second
develop
word,
from there, but it started
which
it all.
I said first.
Now you would say that everything else is
Assalamu
subservient to
alaikum.
that because it's the first thing
Wa
that
alaikum.
happened.
I'll explain.
And what?
I'll explain.
Why do we have-
Alaikum.
why do we have
And
to-
what?
why do we have to
I'll explain.
manipulate
Don't
in a
explain.
hierarchical
I'm
way?
asking you. Alaikum. And what? Finish the
First better.
sentence.
No, as in back to
That's the
you.
one. Why is
Finish
first
the
better than
sentence.
last?
No, there's a reason for.
Finish the sentence.
No, I'll explain to
قال
you.
رسول الله
Because the
لن
whole
يؤمن أحدكم إنك لست من المؤمنين.
No, we'll speak again. We'll speak
their
again.
causes, of
Until you
course.
say the word.
Their
No, we'll
causes,
speak, we'll
their
speak.
mechanistic
As soon as you
causes.
say the
I
word,
told you, why did I use
here.
aggregate
Okay,
set?
we'll speak.
So that
If you
we
don't
don't
say the
go into
words,
this.
I'm
This
not
is now
here.
a whole lot of
Okay,
confusion. If you take
think
all,
it is.
let me tell you why.
Okay.
If you take the whole set
Okay.
of past, present, future, it doesn't matter, all the causes, could any of the causes exist
Without the
within?
first cause.
Yes, without the in and of themselves, could they exist? Any one of them, pick as you like.
Yeah, probably not.
No, exactly. So that's why there's no point in talking about the middle causes. That's why I said they're not the really true causes, because everything would not even exist had they not, this whole set of causes would not exist without this first cause.
I would assume then the first cause, right? would the first cause have any potency if nothing happened after it, if it just fizzled out?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Okay, let me ask you this. The first cause, right? The contingent cause. Currently, we put it up on a pedestal.
No, first cause is not a contingent cause. Because I'll explain to you why.
I got you. Everything else is contingent on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Putting that on a pedestal is higher than the others. Now, I'm asking you, what if the first cause had happened, but nothing happened after that? What if everything else just fizzled out? Couldn't it be, hang on with me here, first cause is as dependent on the other causes coming after it as the other causes are dependent on that?
Yeah.
Because
Let me tell you why you can't have
the other causes
that.
didn't happen, the first cause would be potentless.
I'll tell you why you can't have that.
So they're equally dependent.
No, so let me tell you why you can't have that.
Yeah.
If you accept that all the past, present, and future contingent existences exist within this aggregate sum of contingent things, there cannot be anything which relies anything that relies has to exist in that set.
Yeah.
So anything outside that set must, by definition, cannot rely on anything other than itself for its own existence. See what I'm saying?
No.
There's two types of existence only. Like when we're speaking modally, because you're very philosophically competent. So when we're speaking with regards to modalities, we've already discussed squared circles. Those cannot exist. They're impossible existences. So we're left with when things exist, like there can only be contingent and necessary existences. Contingent existences are things which they rely on something outside of themselves, outside of their essence, to exist, right? And if all contingent things are within this contingent set, therefore the only thing that could be outside this contingent set that this set is contingent upon is what? A necessary thing.
And that's why I'm challenging. You haven't really addressed the challenge that I gave there. So the challenge is...
No, you did, because you said it's back and forth dependency, and I told you something outside a contingent set cannot be contingent on anything.
But why is it outside?
I'll tell you why. Because if you say it's part of it, then what's your issue then becomes, what is the contingent, the set itself, because it's a contingent set, it's made up of constituents which are contingent. What does that set as a totality rely upon?
Let's look at it as a chain, right? You look at it as a chain. You have to
no, it's not, because then you could bring that time and cost. Just stick to an aggregate sum.
It's connected to all the other courses coming there. Just because it's the start of the chain, why is it not contingent on the courses that's coming after?
Okay, so why don't you explain?
Can you see contingency going both ways?
I just explained to you why. Okay. Because the first thing is not a contingent thing. You're making a category error.
It has
and I showed you why it can't be, because if you take the aggregate sum of these causes, all the aggregate, everything that is contingent must exist in that sum.
I get that point.
So anything outside cannot be.
What I'm asking you is the first cause, could that exist on its own? You're saying it's essential, it's not contingent, it should be able to exist on its own.
Yeah.
Could it exist on its own if nothing came after it?
Yes, it can. But
absolutely.
Yes, it can. And the other thing, which to make it easier between what you two are speaking about, is chronologically there has to be something that was there before anything else existed.
Yeah.
In that case, it was there on its own before anything.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to your question.
Fair enough. But for that to come to fruition and be manifested, it must be contingent to the things that comes after it.
Not necessarily if it's the first.
It must be connected to those things.
No, it could have existed forever on its own.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, because a necessary thing that does not derive its existence from anything other or outside than itself.
And I think actually...
So there doesn't need to be anything else.
I think that's where I disagree. I think that's assuming a little bit too much that there is a force that is outside the game and is able to start the game. Whereas you might more be able to see it. Start the set of rules, start the world.
Well, whatever you want to call it. I don't mind if you call it game. What I'm trying to say is the fact that a game exists.
Could you say equally that it's part of the game as well, because it also started that game, so it was a cause
that would be
it was the egg that everything else came out of.
There's a bootstrap problem. It's literally a case of a crane creating its own foundation. Do you see? That's the problem. If we stick to what Ismael was saying earlier about the chronology here, the first cause could have been hypothetically on its own forever. So in that case, there isn't this loop that you're speaking about.
But it's interesting when we look at Big Bang, there seems to have been other universes before. Apparently so.
Even if other universes have existed, by the way, that's not an issue. The thing is all these contingent things, all these things that did not need to exist, that have come into existence and gone out of existence. if we group them up, every universe you want, if you group it up into this nice set of contingent things, that all the sum aggregate, all contingent things, put everything in there, that sum, because it's a contingent sum, by definition is contingent upon something else.
Yeah.
And that something else cannot be contingent because if it's contingent, it would be in the aggregate sum.
Yeah, right.
See what I mean? So it's contingent upon something outside itself, and the only thing that could be outside an aggregate contingency of, an aggregate contingent of
Has to be
sums
some kind of
is something,
essential essence.
is in a sense, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
a necessary existence, absolutely.
But I don't see a cause or a need to sort of put up a hierarchy or say one thing is higher, the others are subservient to that thing. Because that's sort of assuming, first of all, it's assuming there's hierarchies built into the universe, which seems a bit strange.
It's an
to me.
ontological hierarchy.
Sorry to bother you, bro. I just thought there's a table.
Something that is
And I-
contingent upon
Oh,
something
Jazakallah.
Yeah.
is by definition
sure.
subservient to it for its existence.
Jazakallah
I think that definition,
It's less
by,
powerful.
by definition, that it's less powerful. I think that's a big claim.
Okay.
And I think that's actually where I break off from the more Christian and Muslim and Jewish understanding of God being a supreme being or a higher being. I'm not sure it's a separate.
Sorry,
because those
I'm
religions
picking up
seem
this
to assume
conversation. Sorry,
that
sorry.
God is that essential force that is completely separate
yeah.
and much stronger than everything else. Whereas I'm more inclined to believe that it's a part of the whole calculation, if you will, and it's on an equal level with everything else. But it was sort of a first cause. It's not even separate. It's infusing everything that's around it, right? It's the same. It's the same. It's from its perspective. It's not a separate cause with other contingent causes. It is just the cause that is continually flowing out, almost like more of a life force. I think makes more sense to me.
So the reason it can't exist just like everything else and within everything else and equal to everything else is because it's ontologically not equal. That necessary existence does not rely upon all this creation.
Yeah.
But this creation all relies on that necessary
That's the
existence. So
Yeah,
so my point is when you say this is where you walk away or you split your path with the Abrahamic faith or with Islam,
yeah.
I want to know why, because it seems to be that all our rational faculties are pointing to something that is subservient, less powerful.
No, I think that's a broad claim. No, I don't.
So I would like to explain. I want you to explain why that is the case.
I'll explain it again. Happy to do that. So I think you're assuming that everything is subservient to a first cause and that it's separate. Why must it necessarily be
So
separate?
I told you
Why is it not a reflection on the other side of the coin? Why is it not something that's hidden inside the eyes of the person?
Good. This is a good question. Let's stick on this. Let's stick on this because you said it's an assumption.
Wait, I'm not done. You see the universe in someone's eyes, right? You see like the whole world, the whole cosmos opening up to you. Sometimes it's just a piece of hair or a leaf or whatever. Why can't it be more like this animist notion, or maybe even the Buddhist notion in a sense, that everything is sort of interlaced and interconnected, and it's not as separate as you think it is. It's actually on an equal level. But it might well have been first, but that doesn't necessitate to me that it's necessarily higher.
No, but that's not. It being first is not what necessitated, but in and of, like that's not the only thing that necessitated that it's higher. No,
It can exist
what it
by
did.
itself.
No, because see, you made two things. You said that I am assuming it. I'm not. The whole point of me giving you an argument, a rational proof, for why you require a necessary existence, which is more powerful than everything else is contingent upon. The whole point of giving the proof is to not assume it.
Yeah.
So we're not assuming it. So I'm telling you now that I've given
How
you.
is it proof?
It's a proof. It's a deductive proof. I'm telling you the fact that there is.
No, wait. Proof is a scientific term.
No,
You
it's a
have to
deductive
you
term.
have to bring
It's actually
evidence.
no, it is. I just gave you a deductive proof.
Yeah, no, that's
a proof.
That's logical cohesion. It's not proof.
No, of course it's a proof is something that is
proof is a scientific term.
No, it's not.
Or it's forensic or whatever.
Okay,
but
what
you
science?
you can say something is logically cohesive.
No, you could say there's logical proofs. There's mathematical proofs that are based on logical proofs. This is very like this is not contested. Proofs do not. Science comes after logic and comes after philosophy.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's actually science is the proof of science is underpinned by logical proofs.
But proof is something different. When you talk about logics and something is logically cohesive, that's its own thing. It's not proof. It's not proof in the sense of science.
How about this? I'll tell you, a deductive proof is a much more powerful proof than a scientific proof.
A deductive proof.
Yes, of course.
But a deductive,
Because yes, absolutely.
that's deductive and inductive logic.
So
It's
what I've been
it's
giving you.
It's not proofs. It's arguments.
No. That is. Let me tell you why it's a proof. Do you know why?
It is a method.
Do you know? No, science is a method. Do you know why
No.
deductive? You know, science is just a methodology.
It is just a methodology.
Exactly. So
And that methodology uses the term proof.
yeah,
right?
but no.
If
But
you speak within logics, you don't use the term proof. You use the term it is logically cohesive.
no.
or there's
You
strong
use
argument.
logical. Just your introductory books of logic use proofs.
I'm not saying it's not proof. I'm not saying logic is not useless.
No, I know you're not.
Logic can be stronger than proofs.
I don't want to
sometimes.
strawman you. I know
It can
that.
be much stronger than proofs.
No.
Let's just get
I
clear
think
about
you're
the
using
terminology.
proof and evidence you're conflating the two. First of all, what's called a deductive proof is something where the premises, if true, necessitate its conclusion. Necessitate. No amount of scientific inductive reasoning or inductive proofs can lead to necessary truths. You know that. So that's the point of why I tell you deductive proofs are actually way more powerful in learning things about existence.
I know what you're
so
talking about.
So
I know what you're
the
talking
proof
about,
that I gave
but
you.
I think you're using the wrong term. But I know what you mean.
I'm not using it. I'm telling you why. Because the proof that I gave you is a premises to conclusion, whereby if the premises are true, the conclusion is also necessarily true.
Yeah,
No
so
amount of
Socratic
scientific
method.
proofs.
The Socratic method.
Yeah. So no amount of scientific proof. Not necessarily,
But it's not 100%.
it's just
true
rational. It doesn't
necessarily.
need to be Socratic. It's just the rational method of going about
No,
deductive
it is.
proofs. No, but
It is
listen. The point is
it
what?
is the Platon
The point
approach.
is what science.
It is where you say, okay, if this term
Let's
is
not get
true,
off topic. Let's not
and
get
if
off
this
topic.
is true- No, I am on topic. If this term is true and this term is true, this must necessarily be true. That's a method. It's not 100% true.
No, it is actually. That's exactly my point. The whole point is that necessary truths arise from deductive reasoning. Inductive gives you provisional truths. That's the point. Why? Because induction has this problem of what's called a circularity. Why? Because to do induction, you must assert or assume the uniformity of nature.
Yeah.
The problem is the uniformity of nature uses and utilizes induction. So, this is Hume's problem of induction.
How are you using induction here? What's your
Induction
definition?
is when we take things in our particular and generalize things that we observe in the particular, and then we generalize them to the unobservable. All right. So the problem with that is, if you see 100 flamingos and they're all pink, you could make the inductive argument that all flamingos are pink.
Sure.
And just even the ones that you've not observed. However, it is very possible that you could one day stumble upon a white flamingo.
Sure.
See what I mean? So it's not a necessary truth that those flamingos are pink,
Yeah.
because it's inductive. However, when I just been giving you a deductive proof for why you need a necessary existence, this is something that is a necessary truth that is derived from true premises.
But it's a
See the
necessary.
difference?
It's a necessary truth because you assume that there has to be a first cause that started.
I'm not assuming for. I'm arguing
what
for
if what if you take the scientific materialistic view? Not that I agree with it necessarily.
Neither do I.
But what if you say that it just sprung out of nothingness? It was actually.
So that's not the
created from
scientific
nothing.
view. The scientific view says that everything is sprung up from a singularity.
Yeah.
We don't say that. That something can come from nothing. That is scientifically absurd and
you're
philosophically
right.
absurd.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
So
it exploded. It came out, but we don't understand that first cause. There's no reason to go into it or understand it further.
No,
And
so
it
we
might-
just
it
step
might have
away.
been- It might have been an infinity going on.
So anything beyond the
Universes after
circularity,
universes.
even if you want to take an infinity, by the way,
Yeah.
if you want, it's irrelevant. Infinity, fine. If you take the aggregate sum,
Yeah.
that still requires an explanation, which is not contingent. Why? Because everything that's contingent is in that sum.
Sure.
So what that sum is contingent upon must be, by definition, another type of modal existence.
Sure.
And the only other type is a necessary. Why? Because we've already established impossible existences are not actual existences. Therefore, a necessary existence, something that is, does not require something outside of itself for its existence,
Yeah.
is the only thing that could have brought about the aggregate sum.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sure.
Fair.
Only
So do
thing
you
I
understand
can-
why it cannot be equal now? And it's subservient.
No, see, there you're jumping because I can totally agree with. There must have been a first cause that was not contingent. That makes complete sense.
Fantastic.
Sense to me. But why do you necessarily jump in and say, oh, well, then that first cause must be supreme because
I'll tell you why.
it could exist.
I'll
on
tell you
its
what. You're right there. Let me tell you why. Everything in that set relies
Yeah, you've said that.
Upon that. No, but that's
you've
but you need to
repeated that.
you need to zero on it.
I get
no,
that.
but is
I get that.
is that relation in both ways? Because
Yeah,
you keep going back to this both ways thing.
Sure.
Is the reliance a two-way relationship or a one-way relationship?
Well, why not?
No, why not? You know why.
Could you compare it to, say, immateriality, intellectualism, consciousness are equally relying on a material
Do you want to know why not?
It's equally relying on a material reality.
You could answer your own question.
You have to have, if you're going to explore these things, you have to have a brain, you have to have a body. So immateriality has to express itself through materiality. Why?
I'll tell you why. And you could answer it. You could answer it yourself. What's the definition of a contingent
say
thing?
that first cause to be observed by living beings and entities, to be comprehended and to be expressed, it must have. It's actually reliant on contingent causes.
So we went back to the original topic, which is what?
Become manifest.
Our observation or our realization that this necessary thing exists has no impact on this thing's ontology. That's the point.
Why not?
Okay, so what? Okay, you're gonna answer this question. I'm not gonna say anything. How does a necessary existence get its existence?
How does necessary existence get its
existence? That's the whole point of the proof.
Yeah. So
wait, just say it. Well, how?
Okay, how does it get its? Okay, so how
through
does
something else or through itself?
How does necessary existence get? What was it?
Does a necessary thing exist through something else or through itself?
Oh, through something else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit of a different question.
No, that's what I've been trying to drive to you when I say reliance, and you keep saying you're repeating it. I'm trying to repeat it so I can get it to break through.
Yeah.
The reason the reason that they're not equals because the reliance relationship is one way. And why? And you said no. Let me tell you. I'll tell you why. No. I'm telling you, you're not noticing because you've already agreed with me.
Let's take that thing that's not reliant on anything else. It created a thing that was reliant on it. Cool.
Yeah.
But for that to gain any kind of manifestation, for that to actually appear out of its realm of non-materiality, out from its realm that is separate from our world, it needed that contingent thing to get through. To burst through to this world.
No. Remember, without going into any of this. If you just
I question why are you saying that one is subservient to the other?
I'm telling you
when the other can't be experienced unless it gets that necessary boost.
Good. I'll tell you why. Because experience. If all of humans did not exist to experience or understand or realize that this creator cause whatever that existed, it would still not impact the fact that it actually does manifest and exist. That's what we use manifest. This thing is not reliant on our observation.
Okay, but just because...
So the reliance relationship is one way.
Okay, just because it's able to exist on its own, why does that make it so powerful?
I'll tell you why.
Especially if power is... Let's say power is manifested in this world and is shown in this world and is created from the universe, right?
I'll tell you
why. You need materiality to have power. So...
No, you don't.
How can you say
you can have a causal?
Wait. How can you say that the immaterial thing that doesn't need anything else to exist? How can you say it's more powerful when it's existing on its own? It can't impact the world and it can't do anything.
No, it can't. It didn't choose to.
It did. Okay, but when it chooses to impact the world, it has to impact the world through contingent causes. So what makes that more powerful than the contingent causes?
I told you. Because the aggregate sum of contingent things.
Yeah, you said that. You keep repeating that.
I'm repeating it. Why? Because I'm trying to get it to break through to you. Because in one sense, you'll agree with me.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm just questioning for you here. Why do you assume that everything else that comes out of that thing? Why do you think that thing is stronger than the tools?
I'll explain. Because the stronger. What does stronger mean? It means I'm talking about this reliance relationship. Why is it stronger? One existence, the necessary existence, does not rely for its existence on the contingent set. The contingent set, however, relies for its existence on the necessary existence. But this reliance relationship shows how one existence has a power to bring about the other, while the other does not have power to bring about the existence, the necessary existence.
I disagree with you, because if you look at that thing that exists, right? How is it powerful to exist but being able to do nothing, right? Let's assume let's remove the contingent causes. Let's just have the immaterial.
And we told you that's
cause.
completely fine.
How can you say that thing is powerful when it can't touch the world? It has to use contingent causes.
No, it
has to use a chain
anything.
after it. Well, fair enough. So it doesn't do anything. So it's just
It could exist.
It's just powerful from existing, but being able
No,
to do
it's
nothing.
powerful. What? What's up? What are we? When we're using power, what are we talking
is
about?
Power equating to existence that's independent existence.
No.
And I
When
think
we're
that's
saying
wrong.
about power,
Okay.
we're just describing a
But you said
dynamic.
stronger.
No. I'm
You said
explaining.
stronger.
What does
You
that
said
mean?
power.
We're defining it. What does that mean? There is a relationship. We're describing that dynamic.
Sure.
And this dynamic is unequal. Thus, it cannot be that they share the same amount of power.
Well, I don't think you're getting my point.
I am. I'm
Because
fully getting it, but I
Why
think
would
you're.
you say? Why would you say they're unequal? If this force that's immaterial, that's the first cause, it doesn't need anything. It still needs a contingent effect. It needs to create something
Doesn't need
impact.
to.
Well, it does.
What does it?
Well, it does.
What does it?
Otherwise, it's just floating there and it's doing nothing.
Yeah, but nothing about that has any issue with what I said, because all I told you is a necessary existence does not need something other than itself. So if nothing else exists, it still exists. What's your point?
I don't think that makes it more powerful. That's what.
No, it's not.
That's,
It makes
I
it
think
no. It's powerful. No. I'm showing you why the necessary existence, the cause of all the things that we're looking in existence at, this cause is not equal in its power because it shares an unequal dynamic.
I'm disagreeing with that. The dynamic's unequal.
Well,
I'm saying
you can't, I'll tell you why you can't disagree with it, because you've already agreed to the definitions.
No. I'm saying the dynamic is equal because the immaterial needs the material.
The dynamic
God
cannot
needs
be
a
equal
world
because you
to be
already
able to
agreed to
express
that.
himself through.
Let me tell you, you already agreed to.
If God exists without a world, okay, sure.
Sorry, but what's your name?
If-
What's your name?
Kim.
Kim?
Yeah.
Ismael. Nice to
Okay.
meet you.
Try and get my point. So
Yes.
if God needs to express himself, he has to create something.
God doesn't need to do anything.
Fair enough. He doesn't need to do anything. But if he doesn't do anything, he's not that
No,
powerful.
God is just independent. No, that's what I mean. Power. He's
just
powerful
passive.
in the sense that just because he didn't create doesn't mean he's not powerful.
Okay.
You can have the power to create and choose not to create. But eventually,